We are currently outside the Olympic, and with our final band of the night, we've got Resistis. Right? There we go. All right. Resistis. You guys are based out of Missouri. Is that right?
Correct.
I'm so sorry. It's taken forever. Anyway, I just want to point out, first and foremost, your first show together was at Red Flags, right?
That is true.
And was it with Sacrifice the Scared and Ex Cathedra?
It was.
What can you-
with those two bands.
What can you tell us about your very first show together as a band?
I was not in the band yet. I was in Ex Cathedra.
I was
Right.
going to say, these three guys were currently not in the band when we played that show.
Okay.
So,
It was just you?
yeah, that was just me.
And so, like, how many people have you gone through so far?
We've gone through one bass player since then, one drummer, and one guitar player. So just three. Just those three all flipped out.
And are these guys a part of the Veils of Illusion?
Yes, they are.
What can you tell us about the making of Veils of Illusion?
It was just pretty personal. I wrote that song about how I was feeling. I guess it's a very personal song to me, and we started throwing together some like riffs. Like I proposed a riff to the guys, and they were just like, "Wow, that's like great," and we started building off it, and it ended up being one of our favorite songs we wrote.
Really cool. I want to point out a show. You did a show with Labyrinth and DEF CON.
Unfortunately, that show got canceled.
It was.
That's why we got to play tonight, because Labyrinth wasn't able to make it tonight.
That's true. That is very true. Well, luckily you guys did make it to this show. So.
Thankfully, yeah.
What can you tell us about a place called the Sinkhole?
Oh, it's the go-to spot in St. Louis for underground metal bands and local bands. It's like our favorite spot to play. It's like
There's always a crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's such a cool spot. We love it there. They've always treated us great too. There's always great bands.
For sure. And when you were promoting Dissolving Reality, did you play at a record store?
We did play at a record store. That was right before that EP came out. I want to say like a few weeks before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's probably one of our more different shows to date that we've played.
Yeah?
I don't regret doing it though.
Do you remember how many times you've played at the Platypus?
We've played at the Platypus twice.
And one of those times was with Dead Wolf.
That's correct. That is correct. That was an awesome show.
What was it like playing with Dead Wolf?
Oh, dude, they loved us. They were so nice to us, and like they were a great band. They were so fun to watch. They were just.
It's one of my favorite shows I've ever played. Like, even just watching them, that was a blast.
Yeah, no, and like they were telling us like, oh, you guys got to come down to Canada and play with us. Like they were super cool to us.
Right.
Like that they were just a great band to play with.
What about the festival called the Midwest Disc Rust Fest?
That was a really cool show. It was kind of like this, but it was at the Sinkhole, which is kind of a smaller venue than this.
Right.
But like they had a big collection of bands from like all over the country. And
They had people from Oklahoma, right?
yeah, there was people from all over. It was a really sick show.
Do you remember how many bands were there?
I want to say somewhere from 10 to 12.
Around
It's
the
hard.
same
There was more than that.
It's
It
kind of
was a
hard.
big
It's kind of
fest.
hard to say. It went on like all day.
16.
16? That
Yeah.
seems right. It was a little bit more than this because it started earlier in the day.
Started at like 11 o'clock and then it ended around 10 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, it was like an all day thing.
And what other like events and activities were there besides just the music? Do you know if there's anything else?
Yeah, they had like a food truck outside.
Yeah,
and
and the hot dog stand with
Yeah.
the cookies and stuff.
it was super cool. They had all this stuff going on outside.
Good old Midwest classic right there.
Yeah, it was a great way to like get some extra cash too, like
Right.
because all those people were out on a hot day, like hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I want to point out a name. Who is Jackson Denholm?
Oh, he's a buddy of ours from a local band called Mermot. He mixed our last single, and yeah, he's a great friend of ours. He did a really great job.
For sure. And I also want to know a TikTok you made. Who was the best screamer?
Probably Andrew.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Andrew. He had a pretty sick scream.
Yeah. I would say Andrew has the most like professional technique.
Yeah,
Like
for
we all
sure.
have a very different scream, I'd say.
Do you practice screaming at all?
I do, and I also scream in a different band, too.
So you have some experience with the screaming?
I do. I've been doing it for, I want to say, about 4 years now.
Have you watched anyone scream to perfect your scream?
I took some vocal lessons and just kind of been watching people on YouTube try to, like, explain it and stuff and kind of, like, replicate it in a way.
Yeah. So I have a few personal questions for each of you guys. So starting off with Razor, what can you say about Warlock?
Warlock, man, one of the best 80s heavy metal bands. Doro Pesh, like, she's awesome. I mean, that Triumph and Agony album,
Yeah.
I play that all the time. It's one of my favorites.
And did you know you share a birthday with Ryan Reynolds?
I did not know that.
And Weird Al Yankovic?
Really?
I didn't know that either. I fucking grew up on Weird Al, but I also share a birthday with Robert from Metallica. I know that.
Yeah, October
23rd, yeah.
That's right. And also, are you cranked at Geometry Dash?
That would be him. He's a Geometry Dash.
You had him sit in front of a screen with Geometry Dash on it.
We did. We planned that out too. We thought that'd be funny. We were like, oh yeah, we got to leave that in the background, see if anybody points it out.
And you are in charge of the TikTok for the band?
I would say so, yeah. Like, we all kind of pitch in ideas, but I was the one who initially, like, pushed us to make a TikTok.
And another TikTok that I found interesting wasn't because of the title or the theme of it. You had this really big dagger in your hands when you were talking about who your favorite thrash band was.
Yeah, we have all we try to add like silly props into our TikToks, like while we're just talking, to see if like anybody notices them or points them out and like picks up on stuff.
Do you remember this dagger?
I think so. Yeah, Andrew's got a like this dagger in his basement. I think we've all held it at some point in TikToks, just like as kind of a little like gimmick we do, I guess.
Right on. And actually, we're moving on to Andrew right now. What can you tell us about chemical dependency?
Well, there are more of our buddies. Kelton originally asked me to fill in for a couple of shows for them, and once I started to practice with them, they wanted me to do their studio work as well. So I've been just kind of going back and forth between Resistis and Chemical.
What can you tell us about Marquette High School?
This is the school I graduated from.
Yeah?
Absolutely did not like it.
Totally not a fan?
No, never was a fan of school.
What is the Black Dahlia murder?
They're one of my favorite death metal bands, if not probably my favorite death metal band. Trevor was probably the greatest frontman, and I really look up to the drummer, and the riffs are absolutely crazy, and they're just overall a really good and tight band.
Are you a gamer at all?
I am somewhat. I stopped playing games a lot, but I started getting back into it, really.
What can you tell us about the Fallout series?
I wasn't really a big fan of the Fallout series. I tried playing it, but I never really was a big fan of it.
Not a big Bethesda guy?
Not really.
Could you list us the top 3 from back in the day?
Like, just games in general? Probably Call of Duty Ghosts. It's going to sound really weird, but Minecraft was my childhood.
I mean, it was everyone's childhood,
right?
Especially our generation.
And probably Geometry Dash. I used to play that a lot on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be an iPad kid.
Did you ever rage at it?
Oh, all the time.
Did you ever break anything?
I didn't break anything. I didn't get to that point.
Well, that's good. I broke a lot, and I barely played that game.
Right.
So we're moving on now to our final couple of questions. I'm so sorry I didn't have anything for you.
No, that's fine.
But just to start off with you, where do you hope to see metal in 10 years?
Honestly, hopefully around the same, place where it is now, because it's in a good place right now. It's evolved over the past couple decades, and I want it to stay in this area because I really like the way it sounds.
For sure. And how about you?
I agree with him. There's a lot of really good bands out there that people have yet to find, and I also think that there are a lot of really good up-and-coming bands that are, again, really, really good.
Agreed. And over here with Zeke?
I kind of hope to see a bit more of melodic metal make a turn back into popularity, as hardcore and death metal are kind of returning back to the top. I might be a little bit biased because we're more of a melodic band, but that's kind of the stuff I tend to be drawn to. So I hope to see that make a bit of a comeback in coming years.
For sure. I don't know what that was, if you heard that scream, but I don't know if they picked that up, but I hope it did. And how about you with Razor? You already answered the question, but you can answer it again.
Yeah, I mean, just I would like thrash to be more prevalent. I mean, it's my favorite thing in life. I'm in 3 thrash bands, technically.
Yeah.
And could always use more of it.
I don't know if I already asked this. I'm just going to ask it one more time. How did you get the name Resistis?
Oh, that's a great question. I was looking at Latin translations on a website, and I wanted to find a name that was unique in the sense that, like, when people looked us up, it didn't get mistaken for other things or, like, other search results come up. So I wanted to find a unique word that wasn't in English. And when I was looking at Latin translations, there's this word called Resistis, and it meant bringer of end. And I heard that, and I was like, that sounds like that could be a cool name. And, like, I presented it to the guys who were in the band at the time, and they were like, that's, like, really cool. It's unique, and, like, it's... They just, like, they love that name. And
that's also kind of how Ex Cathedra found their name, right?
Yeah. I mean, we sort of just had a list, and that was the cool one, I guess.
For sure. There's always a list at the very end. You got to pick from. So, for our final 2 questions, what is the future for Resistis? Are we going to be seeing you guys play more often at concerts, more EP releases, maybe an album or merchandise or anything?
Absolutely. We have an album in the works right now. We don't have any release dates set in stone or names or anything yet, but we're pretty much finished writing the instrumentals of all the music, so we're getting ready to get that finished up, and we're hoping to get some tours going on within, like, the next year or so. So we definitely want to get playing a lot more.
Of course. And for a final question for you guys, I've asked every band this simple question. What would you tell the young and aspiring musicians who want to do what you guys are doing right now?
To just go for it. Like, when I started this band, like, I had no idea what I was doing, and I just don't let your ego get in the way, and learn from people around you who have been doing this longer than you, and like, have a lot of fun, because there's a lot of really cool stuff about this music scene, and it's great. Like, it's you can tell, like, even, like, seeing today, there's just a lot of young kids in there. Like, there's a lot of passion for this music even still, and kids, like, getting older, and just to don't shy away from that, and embrace it.
For sure. Razor, you want to answer it again?
Yeah, sure. I said bet on yourself before, and I still have to say that. My side project, Anarchy, that's pretty much all me, because, you know, sometimes people won't be as dedicated to it as you are, so you just have to take that initiative yourself, learn how to make it happen.
Agreed, 100%.
I forgot the question.
What would you tell the young, inspiring musicians who want to do what you guys are doing right now?
Don't give up. I never really started playing, like, locking in on the drums till about 7 years ago, but I've been playing for roughly 18 years, I would say. At first, when I started getting into metal, I just thought I could never do anything like I could do now, but I just never gave up, and I really have come so far from when I first started, like, locking in, and I know there's a lot of other people out there that can just absolutely be the best that they can if they just have that motivation and not give up.
100%.
Honestly, just take risks. Like, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So if you have an opportunity, just take it, no matter what you think the outcome might be.
Yeah, like that the Labyrinth show. Like, we were so bummed out it got canceled, but because of that, I mean, we got to be a part of this. It's kind of crazy how it worked out, but, like, you never know what might happen. Take those risks, you know?
I'll say to tie in what he said, like, playing this show today was a risk for us, because at 6 p.m. yesterday, we didn't know that we were going to be here in this city playing this show today. Like, we got the offer last night, and we were like, all right, let's pack up our stuff and let's drive down to Iowa and let's do it.
You really took a leap of faith.
Yeah, for sure, and it was worth it. Like, that's probably one of my favorite shows I've ever played.
Have you ever been to Iowa to do a show?
No, never. This is actually the first time we've played out of state.
Really?
Yeah.
And you just decided to hop on a van or a car or whatever, and you just decided to come all the way over here to Iowa?
Yeah, we packed everything up in my little SUV, and we made it work.
Well, here you guys are. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us today. We hope to see you guys here more often, and we'll see you guys in the next interview.
Yeah, for sure.